Okay, welcome back to another episode of Stuff I Make with Grand Inquisitor Chris. This is going to be a very, very short tutorial because basically I'm just going to be talking about prepping something. I belong to a lot of Facebook groups and Yahoo groups and everything else, some forums, and I constantly see, since the internet has so many new people joining every group continuously, so they're always growing, I see at least a few times a month in several of the groups where someone posts about these paper mache houses and asks, what can I do with this? Can I really use this for crafting? The answer is yes. We're going to do a simple prep on this that's going to make it something that you can turn into a whole variety of other buildings. And you'll see in some of my upcoming videos where I've taken these paper mache houses and turned them into something that is applicable, because one of the downfalls, or I think one of the reasons people ask if these can be used is because these are so far out of scale. If you look at it on the doorway, that door is pretty big, and the smaller houses that they sell actually have like a 3-inch doorway, so they're about the size of a G.I. Joe. Obviously this is way out of scale, so we're going to talk about how to prep this so that you can turn it into something usable. Now, these come in these come in two different parts. They're pretty cheap. You can get them at Walmart. During parts of the year, you can get them at Michael's, Hobby Lobby. Pretty much any craft store will be carrying these always. If you go to Walmart during the Halloween season, they usually have some spooky versions of these where they're kind of warped, like something you'd see in a Tim Burton movie. So to prep this, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the roof off. Now when you're prepping this, you're going to go ahead and take an X-Acto knife. I'm not actually going to cut this one, but I'm going to show you. I'm doing this for miniatures gaming, so I don't need it to be like super accurate and super detailed. I don't do these as story piece houses where this is like one particular governor's house that I want to make a big story or campaign around. I do these for miniatures gaming, so I want something that looks nice and adds visual appeal to the table, but is easy to work with. So the first thing I do is I take an X-Acto knife and cut here on both of these, and cut here around the chimney, because they look nice, but these are going to be something that's going to take longer to finish up when I'm doing the house. So I'm just going to do this to simplify it. I'm going to be saving some of these a little bit later. I'm going to be doing some builds where I'll put these pieces to use. When you're cutting the front, these sides here are kept on with a single layer of this brown paper glued down. The front, however, you have to actually cut through the cardboard here. When you finish with it, you'll end up with something like this one. Like I said, you have to cut through the actual cardboard here, so you can see that it's got these notches cut. Okay, so once you've done that, if you want to, you don't have to, but that's a step that I do for the miniatures gaming. Next, I go ahead and I take some cardstock, measure it to the height of the building. Now, this one I actually did a while back. What I'm going to do is, I'm not going to glue this on right now, I'm going to show you what I did. Take it to that corner, and I'm going to crease it. Now, since I have these little clamps, I'm going to go ahead and use those just to hold it in place. Then I'm going to crease it again here. And the reason I'm doing this is so that some people will sit there and measure, okay, well, I need something that's exactly this length. They'll measure it and cut it, and occasionally you can come up a little short. But if you do this, now this facade is exactly the size I need. So I can just take a pin trace it here and cut that out, and I know that all 4 of these corners are going to be fully covered. Okay, so after I've done that, I put these onto a bigger, better base. You don't have to. But I choose to simply because I'm a wargamer and I want something a little sturdier. I know not all wargamers are the same, but pretty much the basis of my channel is about showing people how to do things, but do them better. You're going to find that I don't use plaster, I don't use drywall compound, I don't use a lot of materials that most people do. And most people use them because they're cheap and easy to use, but the problem is they're delicate. So I want to make something sturdier. I go ahead and I cut this base off using a pair of shears. I cut it to the edge of the building. Set this back up to the side. I then take the cardstock, and when I'm gluing it, so let me pull it back out. When I'm gluing it, I will go ahead and, to get the best possible adhesion that I can, even though I've got it covered here, or crimped here, I'll go ahead and apply some glue here, put this piece on, clamp it, turn it, because it'll be clamped, it'll hold that on steady. I'll then apply the glue to this face, because I want to make sure that I get it exactly positioned, nice and tight in these corners, so that it stays on. Then I'll go ahead, and once those first 2 are glued, before they're dried, I'll go ahead and I will put glue here, put it on, and the clamps that I used to hold this in place, I'll take off as I put rubber bands on to hold it. So, let me pull out one that I've got rubber banded. On this one you can see I've cut the base off. I've rubber banded these in place. I try to put one rubber band kind of close to this edge, one rubber band kind of close to this edge, and as many as you want to do around the middle. When you take them off, you end up with this. And I'm sure someone's going to say, oh, well, I can just make something like that out of cardstock. One of the advantages to using these is this paper mache is actually pretty sturdy. Now, you're going to find when you buy them that they're not necessarily fully squared, so you may have to squeeze them a little bit to get them re-squared. But once you've gotten to this step and they're all glued up and dried, they're really sturdy, so they make a nice, they make a better building, in my opinion, than using something like foam core or cutting it yourself. And from this point forward, using this, you pretty much have a nice basis for a house. Now when I get to doing the roof on this, I'm going to go ahead, and you'll see in some of the videos that I use these in, that I will have a piece of artist illustration board that I've cut to fit here, and I'm going to actually do it on both sides so that they fully match up and so that they're even sturdier. Because one of the weak points that I find on most houses that people make are the shingles or the roof treatments, and I want something that's going to be as absolutely sturdy as possible, because a lot of people, when they go to pick them up, since these are going to be glued in place, they're going to pick them up by the roof. They're not necessarily going to delicately pick them up by the side. A lot of times you're just going to see people grabbing them by the roof. So I want that to be as sturdy as possible. But now you have a basis for pretty much whatever you want. I'm showing you this on this bigger house because this is going to be something I use for one of the projects that I have coming up, where I do 3 of these houses in 3 different styles. And these are going to be some of the larger houses for my Let's Make a Village series. So one's going to be like probably a hotel or an inn, I guess, since I don't think they called them hotels in the medieval period. And another one's going to be like a general store type thing. Another one will be like a governor's house type thing. So I just thought I'd show you guys this so that if you ever buy any of these paper mache houses, or you're looking for a cheap alternative to help you quickly build houses, these paper mache houses can be prepped pretty easy. One thing that I haven't shown you here that would be later in the video is I would be putting this onto a better base. So the bases that I cut are going to be out of MDF or chipboard, and it's going to be super sturdy. You'll see it in some of the videos I have coming up. I will catch up with you guys later, and hope this helps. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.